there's two things that pop out immediately when it's like how do we check ourselves? It's knowing what you know. Same token, know what you don't know. Same token, don't try to do anything outside of that. And ensure that you have a solid base built as a coach. And gosh, I feel like we've talked about principles for like 4 straight podcasts. But if you have those solid principles in place, you now have an opportunity to measure yourself against those principles. And, in like in a very tangible, from a very tangible standpoint, just think about the conversation that we've had before of like a coach, in Coach RX and just like programming, week 3 out of week 8, and then they get to week 4 out of week 8, and they're like finding themselves like going off plan, right? Going off plan. And they're like, why the fuck? Like they end that week of programming, they look back and like, why did I decide to do this wonky ass exercise selection? They go back to their principles of that training split. They look at like the actual cycle plan and they're like, these are the 2 priorities of this cycle. This is what I'm doing Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Sunday. And they're like, oh, this actually doesn't fit that plan. So I'm going to go back in the program and ensure that it fits the plan, right? That plan, those are the principles of that cycle. And the exercise selection has to align with the principles of that cycle. So looking at it on a more macro level, like, okay, let's zoom out. And it's like, what are we saying on social media? What are the conversations that we're having with our clients? What is the advice that we're giving? It's like, think about that, like that cycle plan, where do you put your principles, right? And ours, it's like, hey, CCP coach, open up your CCP books, right? As a coach out there kind of floating, it's like, where are your principles? Do you have them in like a Google Doc? Do you have like a list of all of your principles? Like where are you referring back to? So I think it's extremely important to have a base level knowledge or base level principles that you can have the opportunity to check yourself and say, okay, yeah, I'm getting a little off base here. Like this aerobic progression, I'm going the wrong way, right? Like let me get back on track here.
Getting a little too cute.
Yeah, seriously. So, but we've all done it. We've all gone off track before. But if we don't have that cycle plan, if we're designing a training program, or we don't have those overarching principles when we're giving our clients advice or posting some shit on social media, it's like we don't have the opportunity to check ourselves. So I think that's probably the biggest thing is having a base level, let's just call it knowledge base, or somewhere that you're holding all those principles that you can go back and check what you're saying and what you're doing on those on a fairly consistent basis.
Yeah. On top of that, I wrote down a few questions that I ask myself when I am reflecting on program designs and just on how a relationship with a client is going, to make sure that I am staying on track and I'm not getting caught in the weeds, and that I am staying true to my principles. So I've got 4 questions. Can I explain the why behind this in a way that the client would understand? So that one's pretty obvious.
Mm-hmm.
Do I feel truly good about this program? And can I go to bed at night feeling good about what I'm doing for this person?
Mm-hmm.
If I could only program the minimum effective dose, would it look anything like what I'm writing here? And then, am I always seeking more knowledge, or have I actually spent time refining what I've just been learning? And that one is really, really important to me.
So the last one's outside of like that program design piece, but it's like just a question that you ask yourself. Yeah,
because we're always seeking to know more. We think more information is better, but we don't often sit and think, what am I doing with that information?
Yeah.
Is it just, adding superfluous details to my practice and making things more complex than they need to? Or is it actually helping me in some tangible way? And am I actually using what I already know in the most effective way possible? And I will say, since I graduated CCP, my entire coaching education has been on refining.
Yeah.
It hasn't been on trying to really learn anything new. It's been on better understanding what I already know. And I often...
But you are learning new things in that refinement
Oh,
process.
Of course. You're uncovering new little details, and you're realizing what you don't know, and then having to go into that. But I'm not actively seeking new certs and new education right now, because I know that it wouldn't help me. I need to spend 10 years coaching clients really effectively with individual design method, with the CCP method, the OPEX method. And again, taking the opportunity to go down little rabbit holes and learn as I need to, but don't just learn for the sake of learning unless you're spending time integrating and refining as well.
Yeah.